All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. We are revisiting a recent experiment where I thought this is actually part one and part two. We did an import experiment where we imported the peakiest seasons we could find in MLB history. That is to say, the best single seasons that were surrounded on either side by a mediocre or below average season. And we couldn't take the best because we needed a full roster, but I think we did a pretty good job of spanning eras and getting a full roster together. And we did that under um, the previous version of the previous, I guess, what do they call it? The previous patch. And that patch and all versions before, you only had one option of importing the player's statistics or their profile. You had options for fielding, position flexibility. You had options for pitcher stamina. But as far as like what season your profile was based on, there was no choice. It was just some default. And I always thought the default was the season you asked for. So if you asked for a 1996 Brady Anderson, you get the 1996 Brady Anderson. As we did some experiments with that, I started to realize, okay, this doesn't seem to be what we're getting. In particular, the power rating seemed way too low for a 50-plus home run season. So went to the forums, and I'll go over this history again when the Raiders come in. So why don't we do this? In order to not rehash stuff twice, let's just go to the pack giveaway form. I'm gonna have you guess the outcome of this second part of this experiment. So let's do the pack giveaway form. I will give you information on how the first experiment went. I just got the title updated, so the content is not yet updated. All right, so in today's stream, we will be completing part two of a two-part experiment that we started last week. Using the previous default for importing players, we built and imported rosters of the peakiest peak seasons in MLB history. By that I mean seasons that are uncharacteristically great. They're not actually uncharacteristic because for Steve Garton they were great. That were great and come before and after average, mediocre, or even bad seasons. The ultimate goal is to rerun so let me these imported players replaced the roster of the 2024 New York Mets. In the past, let's do this. In today's stream, we'll be celebrating and explaining a new option in OOTP26 that the OOTP developments team added after we brought this subject up in the forums. thank you to OOTP for introducing this improvement in actually just over a month. I think if I'm counting right, I think it's just over a month. I think that's worthy of an exclamation point. I'm going to add a little exclamation point there. I'm even going to bold it. That's how excited I am about this because, frankly, all of my historic simulations were on the back burner until we could get this resolved. So, really grateful that they got it done so fast. And, of course, always grateful that they're so open to user input. I think a lot of games would see us talking about it, asking for a fix, and be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But to their credit, they took it seriously, and they put in a fix very quickly. So that was really cool. So do definitely want to acknowledge that. All right. We will be completing part 2 of a part 2. We already did that. Okay. In the past, if you imported a specific player season, the OOTP default was to import a profile that blended three seasons. All right. This was confirmed by OOTP developer in the public OOTP forums. So that's why I was told if it was in the open forums, I could talk about it on stream because it's in the public already. And it was in the forums that they said they would look into giving us an option other than this 3-year default. Okay, they let us know. They let us know they would. I think they said they would look into it. Future, and it was included in the most recent patch. Actually, I don't know if it's the most recent, so I should just say, and it is now available in OOTP26. This is pretty awesome. It's and it's a big deal, and hopefully this sim will illustrate kind of how big of a deal it can be. In particular, we're going to look at the Brady Anderson and Steve Carlton profiles because to me those are two of the peakiest of the peak seasons. All right, and then I'm going to change a bunch of these questions. Now, usually I try to use the same template, but since this is specifically comparing to another season, another sim, I think, for example, we can take out this. Is it going to have the worst season in the majors? There's no way. Worse than the NL? No way. Last in division? No way. I think we can start here. Will it make the playoffs? Will it win its division? Will it make it to the World Series? Will it win the World Series? Will a player on this team win the Cy Young Award? In the 3-season... I don't think... I'm trying to see if we won the Cy Young Award in the last sim. Let me check the. I know there's like an awards page, but I usually just manage that through. Okay, we did win the Cy Young. (1952) Bobby Shantz did win it. MVP, I think we did not win. Okay, we did not win it in. We did not win it in the 3-year blended season. The 3-year blend team won 130, or 130 and 32. Okay, we did not make it past the NLDS with the 3-year blend team. Okay, how many games behind? Now we start the numerical section. How many games behind will this team finish the division? Okay, these hover questions, these mouse hover questions, we're going to get rid of because I'll be shocked if this team doesn't finish first in almost everything. And then let's see. I feel okay asking some Steve Carlton specific questions. Oh, did I just... I think I deleted a question. I meant to add a question. Steve Carlton had... In 1972, Steve Carlton had a 3.2 array. In real life, 1972, Carlton had a 1.97 array. And a 201 ERA plus. Okay, so I gave you some information about what he did in the sim, what the 3-year import version did, what he did in real life, and I'm asking you, what will his ERA be? And then what else do I want to ask about? How about strikeouts? He had 310 in 72. Yeah, 255. Yeah, that's a good one. Last strikeouts too. Oh no, in the import sim he threw 255. In real life, Carlton had 310 strikeouts. How many strikeouts will the 1 year import 72 Carlton throw? Okay. And then let's do the same thing for Brady Anderson. Now, with Brady Anderson, he didn't play a full season. He was coming in off the bench. The AI benched 50 home run Brady Anderson. He had a 429 slugging. What did he have in real life in 96? 637. $637. All right. That's a huge difference. I didn't realize how big of a difference it was. Let's see, batting average, he had 248 in the sim. In 96, he had 297. So let's ask batting average too. He had a 248. And it's not a small sample size, so it's 338 plate appearances. Let me put that up here. In real life, Anderson had $297. Was that a career high? It was. All right, that's fun. We've got 2 questions right off the bat. Oh my goodness. Ceremony music walking in on me building a Google form, not even playing the game. The only thing I can say is at least it wasn't a spreadsheet. Hi Sarah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for lurking. We do a little bit of busy work while we wait for our fellow out of the park baseball affiliate, Dr. Dynastic, to raid in. So I don't have to explain everything twice. But thank you for lurking. I appreciate it. Okay, the other questions are we're going to keep consistent from the other forms. So what will be the highest wins above replacement on this team? The most home runs hit by the team leader in home runs. Now, again, instead of like a 30-ish home run Brady Anderson, we're probably going to get closer to the 50-plus home runs hit in real life. Lowest and highest batting average with at least 300 plate appearances. These should come up quite a bit with the 1-year import instead of the 3-year. Same for on base plus slugging, lowest and highest 300 plate appearances. And, let's get rid of this strikeout percentage. This is fun when they're like bad players on the team, but there should be no terrible players on this team. Okay, then the pitching section. Pitcher wins above replacement. Strikeouts thrown. Again, it might be that Carlton, so you can maybe steal from that question up above. Highest and lowest ERA, so at least 100 innings pitched. Highest and lowest whips, wins, walks and hits per innings pitched. And then let's take out this worst home run percentage question too. That's more fun if it's like a studs and duds or a low ball experiment. All right, I think the form's ready, so we can go ahead and publish it and put it in the chat, but we will still walk through it when everyone gets here. Put the title slide back up while I do the busy work here. All right, I'll pin this to the chat as usual. Link to form for tonight's 10-pack giveaway, or today's. We have another one tonight. Let me just promote myself a little bit here. Another 10 packs given away tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific time, our usual streaming spot. And we'll pin this to the chat so the raiders can find it. Okay. I got some real good slides here showing you how much the 3-year blend nerfed our two kind of, I don't know, to me they're the best examples of a peaky season. The 72 Carlton, the 96 Anderson, that's why they're on the cover, the title page. And I will show you what their profiles look like. This is what Brady Anderson looked like. Which is crazy. Like a 52 home run season guy should have a power rating around 75. I would say 70 to 80 depending on the era. In fact, let's take a look. Let's look at Aaron Judge in the base game. All right, Aaron Judge is a 50 home run guy. Well, in this sim, he was a 61 home run guy. 61 home runs is 85 power. Right? Otani's a 50-50 guy. He has 80 power. All right, 80 and 85 are comps. If you look at Brady Anderson in real life, in 96, he had 50 home runs. And he was given a 50 home run rating, which is ridiculous when you compare it to the comps. And of course, now we know why, right? We're getting a 3-year blend instead of a single season. And look at the seasons around it. He hit 16 home runs and 18 home runs. So if you take a 3-year blend, it doesn't take a mathematician to realize you're not going to get a 50 home run profile. So that's why I think he's kind of the poster child for this kind of simulation. Dr. Dynastic, thank you for the raid. And the 232 of you coming in with the doc, welcome in. You haven't missed much because I knew that the doc would be coming. So I was saving a lot of the explanation. Hollywood Ty, thank you for the follow. I've actually watched you stream. I may have even raided into you before, but it's great having you in. Welcome in. All right, so here's what we're doing tonight. We did, and again, I'll be streaming at 10 p.m. Pacific time as well. So you're welcome to join us again. We have a 10-pack giveaway form pinned to the chat. You can win packs guessing the outcome of the simulation. This is a part 2. Part 1 is I took the peakiest seasons I could find. And my definition for that is, Hollywood, it's probably because I stream pretty late at night Pacific time. But once a week on Fridays, I stream after Dr. Dynastic going on around 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I realize there are a lot of people who that's the only time they see me, which is fine. I stream when work and family times allow, and it's usually late at night. All right, so peakiest season, my definition is a great season that's surrounded by average or even below average seasons. Right, so the Brady Anderson season, these are the real life stats of Brady Anderson. 1996, famously hit 50 home runs. The year before 16, the year after 18. And it's not for lack of opportunities. His plate appearances in those seasons, 653, 681, 694. If you look at his rate stats, it's even more obvious, right? The peak season, he had a 1034 OPS, highest of his career. The bookends are 815 and 863. So here's why this is interesting to me. I've been doing lots of simulations where I import historical players from all over baseball history and bring them into whatever season I'm simming. I usually use the most recent complete season, so 2024, because it's based on real stats and real historic profiles versus 2025, which is a projection, right? So I'm using 2024 in this game. And I've been doing this for a long time, probably over a decade. I've been doing this for fun. And every once in a while, I would bring in an amazing season, and it would always underperform. In particular, the 72 Carlton and the 96 Brady Anderson. And I did a survey when this topic kind of started coming up. And once I found out what was going on, I said, what do you think you're getting when you import a specific player season? Like when you import the 96 Brady Anderson or the 27 Babe Ruth, what kind of profile are you getting? And almost 80% of the people surveyed said they thought they were getting a single season, the season requested. And about 20% thought they were getting some version of multiple seasons. So this 20% actually turned out to be correct. And I was in this 80% that was incorrect. So when I did, because I've always had this issue with Steve Carlton, Brady Anderson, I did a team of just Brady Andersons and just Steve Carltons. And they underperformed their historic seasons. I mean, I'll show you the Steve Carlton season. It's even more bonkers. He's a great pitcher, but his 72 season was unreal. And the bookend seasons were actually like mere mortal. Right? In 72, he wins 27 games on a team that won 59 games. He went 27-10 on a 59-win team. So Hollywood, when you import a player, like I can import the 72 Carlton into the 2024 season. So it's supposed to grab that player's profile from that year and import it in and then make the era adjustments. And so it's just pulling it from a specific player and a specific year of that player from the database. So this is like the Brady Anderson version, but even more so, right? He had a 1.97 ERA. Yeah, every profile is based on the stats of that season or the stats of 3 seasons, as we came to find out. And so, I mean, look how crazy the season is. His ERA is 1.97, ERA plus 201. The bookends are 111 and 102. His WAR, pitcher WAR, 11.1. The bookends are 3.3 and 4.7. So he's like god level for one season, and then he's like average, above average for the seasons around it. And I always imported him expecting this 72 Carlton. But when we experimented with Carlton and Anderson, it was definitely not the case. And so I went to the OOTP forums and asked, like, hey, what is going on here? Like, why are these players underperforming? And that's when one of the OOTP developers, this is one of the great things about the forums, you will get answers. I mean, yes, you'll get a lot of answers from the community, but you'll also get answers from OOTP developers. They are really good about responding to community inquiries on the forums. And so one of the developers said, yeah, when you import a player, you're getting a 3-year blend. And I was like, what? I never knew that. I don't think there's anywhere in the game that indicates that you'd be getting a 3-year blend. So I was kind of surprised. I was like, okay, well, can we get a 1-year blend? Or just a 1-year import? And to their credit, they took that feedback, and I think it's been less than a month and a half. They came back and gave us that option in the game. It may have also helped that I also gave them some of my survey data. I then asked, what do you want when you import a specific player season? So if you import a 96 Brady Anderson, what do you want? And 90% 94.4% of the respondents said they want a version of a single year import. And there were 5% of the respondents who wanted a multiple year version of that player. And what I really liked about what OOTP Developments did is they made it an and instead of an or, and they gave us both. Yeah, Hollywood, I think that's right. I think most people say if you want 2021 Bobby Dahlbeck, that you're kind of expecting 2021. But here's what they did, and I think it's great because I think it makes potentially everybody happy. Right? They added a new field here, which is the ratings calculation based on. And then if you go to the pull down, you now get the choice of 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year. And the default used to be 3 year. And I think the default being 3 year, part of the problem was not many people understood that's what was happening. I didn't understand, and I've been in the base game a ton. And then, of course, there's a mismatch with what people wanted. Hollywood's part of that 95% that wanted that specific season. Now we can have that specific season if we want. And so, huge kudos to the OOTP development team for listening to the community, giving us the change, and giving it to us so fast. I think that's awesome. I don't know. I mean, I don't play a ton of games, but between my little experience and what I've heard anecdotally from other people who play lots of games, that's really not a common thing for a game company to be that responsive that quickly and to give us pretty much exactly what we wanted. So a big thanks to OOTP Developments. Especially, I think it was Matt in that forum discussion. I don't know if it was Matt that actually worked on that specific change, but as with most of the other OOTP development folks, really great, super responsive. Didn't promise us a fix, said that they would look into it. But then it appeared in the beta, and now it's here in the base game. So super excited about that. I can now resume my historic sims, and we can do this experiment. So here are the Carlton and Anderson seasons. The print might be too small, but I just did show it to you in the game. Right? They're definitely like big, huge, spiky seasons. So let's look at this Carlton season. A 201 ERA plus. That means he's 2 times better than the average pitcher in terms of ERA that season. That's a dominant season. Like a 150 would be a really good season. Yes, yes. When we trying to fill out the tail end of the roster of this team, we did. Rev Junior is correct. Rev Junior is super helpful in helping us finish the roster. There were some, uh, yeah, we were stretching a little bit to finish out the roster. Um, but here's an example of Brady Anderson. This is how he imports in the 3-year, right? A 50 power. And I think before the raid, I looked at some other players who had, like, I looked at the 2024 Otani, who's in this save. He was a 50-50 guy. He has 80 power. Right? Even if you can see that, let's say Brady Anderson, maybe, the 96 season was a little different, so he might import a little weaker. I think 50 to 80 is way too different. Bobby Dahlbeck was not in. Let's look up. Let's see. I think we can do a player search, right? Can we do a mass player search? Or, it's easier if I just go to, hold on. My game is, my computer's frozen. Okay. Let's just go straight to, he was still with Boston, right? If we go to batting and we go to Boston. Oh, was he not with Boston in 24? There's also a player search, so we can player search. Dahlbeck. Well, so the different places have different WAR calculations. So you might be referencing a correct. Oh, sorry, I'm still on this slide, aren't I? I'm in the game looking for Bobby Dahlbeck, and I found him. I went to the player. There's a player search you can do that pulls up every player. Actually, at every level too. If you open up to every level, but I looked up Bobby Dahlbeck, found him here. For some reason, he wasn't on the Red Sox batting roster when I pulled it up. Yeah, you may not have messed it up, Hollywood. You may be referencing like a different WAR source. I think even between OOTP and Baseball Reference, there are often some differences in WAR. And so, believe it or not, based on like what we were trying to do here, he actually would not have qualified because his previous season would have been too good. The .8 WAR, also the higher OPS in the season 4. So it was really hard finding players that met this exact profile we were looking for, but we managed to do it. Definitely a lot of help from Rev Junior that day. But yeah, let me put this slide back up. So this is Brady Anderson, a 50 home run season, or that's what we thought. The imports of the 50 power. And so when we do the import today, the first thing I'll do is I'll screenshot these and put them side by side. And then the other thing we'll do is we'll put their final stat lines next to their 3-year sim stat lines. Of course, they'll be different. And then we'll put the final standings up here. And in the 3-year sim version, we actually didn't make it past the NLDS. I said we lost to the Dodgers in the forum. We actually lost to the Padres. So please disregard that Dodgers thing. I don't think it should materially impact anyone's guesses, but so these players should be significantly better given the seasons we picked, right, with bookends of pretty mediocre bad seasons, and the fact that now we're getting only the selected seasons. So every player should be significantly better, therefore the team should be better. But because they're the Mets, we still might lose in the NLCS. I won't put it past them to do that. So, I don't know. I think I've grabbed enough screenshots of this team. I think we can go ahead and go back out. And we'll start a new version of this save. I have a quick start that has all the settings we like to use for a 1-year Sims. It's the same one we use for a create a roster game. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And what am I calling this? This is experiment. EXP is for experiment. Sorry, I almost pulled in the wrong. Okay. EXP, Peakiest, 1 year, V1. You know what? Let's call it V2, and then after that, I'll say this is the 1-year version. V1 is still going to be V1. And I just realized I'm not showing you my screen again. Y'all, I am terrible at that. I apologize in advance. It will not be the first time I am talking about one screen and showing another. Okay, again, we're going to take over the Mets. Commissioner mode cannot be fired. And a couple things that don't carry over when you do a quick start, in case you didn't know. The mailbox settings, you have to always redo. It goes back to the default. And then also your manager options, which you like to use to minimize interruptions. Now, for those of you who play the base game, you might ask, why am I just using the do not disturb? The do not disturb also does what we want, but if you read the fine print, it gives the AI some powers that we don't want it to have. So I just do a de facto do not disturb. And the other thing we need to do is we need to change our 3-letter abbreviation of the Mets because our import file specifies the destination as FTM for Franchise Time Machine. And right now our team is still NYM for New York Mets. And let me show you that import file so you know what I'm talking about. If I can find it. Oh my goodness. It's in my maze of unlabeled notepads. Here we go. Oh no, that's not it. There's no way I deleted it, so let me just find it. Here we go. Peakiest peak seasons. This is what we're looking for here. Okay, this is the roster file. We're going to use the same roster file. You see at the top, Brady Anderson, 1996. 2019, Cody Bellinger. 89, Kevin Mitchell. Rick Wilkins. Billy Grabowski. Rick Aurelia. Okay, so they're all in there. And so we're going to just import them. So, and so the other thing you'll notice is, this is how you import a player. So, Hollywood, you're asking about how you bring a player in, right? It's looking for the player ID so it knows which player. Then it's looking for the year so it knows which version of that player. And then it brings it into your current season. Now you can add a third field, which is the destinations. You can have it import right onto your team instead of the default is the free agency pool. I always have it go into one of my teams because sometimes the free agency pool is full of players, and then I don't want to go searching for my players. So that's why, and the reason I used instead of, even though I knew we were using the Mets, the reason I didn't do NYM is because if I ever wanted to use this file for another purpose, I didn't want to have to change this abbreviation 26 times. I'd rather just change it one time in the game. And so that's why all my notepad files like that say FTM. Yeah, you can do it in any program that outputs a text file, a TXT file. Wait, Rev Jr., I didn't even know this. They have variant packs. That's something I asked for in PT25. So if they have those now, I'm super excited because I thought that would be a good way to get the non-variant folks more interested in variants, or at the time combinators. So that's cool that they've done that. I'm sure I was not the only person to suggest that, but it was one of the things I suggested. That's awesome. I I hope they actually even bring out iron, bronze, and silver too, because if you play those levels, that's all you care about. Anyway, that's interesting. Thank you for letting me know they have those now. All right, so now this is ready for import. Now, if you've never imported players, and so Hollywood, you may want to watch this part. You go to your manager pull down, GM and manager actions. You go over to sign a free agent. All player creation and player importing happens from the free agency screen. That's another thing. If you don't know where to go for importing players, it might not be intuitive that you go to the free agency screen. So this is a good tip here. You find it in the free agency screen. You have to be in commissioner mode, and then you'll have this pull down menu for actions. This is where we create fictional players when we play games like Create a Roster, and this is where we import players like tonight. Now, in the past, I don't know where they all went, but I used to have a lot more choices here. And I would have to say, choose historical _ database. Now it's the only choice, so it's a lot easier. All right, up top, you can add players one at a time. You can add their player ID and the year. One thing you'll notice is missing is you can't specify their destination. Or you can just upload a file. And we're going to use Peakiest peak seasons. And here's where the new feature comes in, right? Ratings calculation based on, they've left it as the default, which used to be 3 years, but now we have the 1 year option. And fielding ratings, we want to base on the imported season. Stamina based on the imported season. Now, double the weight of the current year. That shouldn't matter if we're doing 1 year, but I'm just going to leave it as yes. And we do want the real left-right splits. Now, this section, this is designed to basically nerf players that have small sample size. And none of our players fall into that category. But just in case, I always take this down pretty low. Okay, and then we just hit import player. Now, we should get a pop-up that says 26 players were imported. There we go. Oh, shoot. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to delete the original Mets roster. All right. So this is easy enough. Instead of trying to find them, I'm just going to delete everybody and just re-import. All right. It's just, it's a lot faster that way. Why do I have Rev Jr. files in here somehow? Oh, this is when Rev Jr. played, or you have a different game called Peak Performers, and Rev Jr. played it. That's a different game. All right, the import settings are the same, so we should still be good. All right, 26 players are imported. If we go to our roster now, it's just our 26 players. And let's take a peek at Brady Anderson. Oh, 80 power, not 50 power. Yeah, Rev Jr. played one of our community games, which is called Peak Performers, which is you take a team that you want to manage, the 2016 Pirates in this case. You can take any 6 players on that team and replace them with whatever you think are the peak seasons of their careers. You can go back in time to get a younger version. You can go ahead in time to get a more experienced version. And so Rev Jr. did that and still managed to somehow do worse. But I think now we know why, right? You were getting 3-year blends of those players, and so you were not getting the players you thought you were getting. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to screen capture this. And I'm going to paste it into the Brady Anderson. And let me put the slide up in a second here. Okay, here's the 3-year Brady Anderson and the 1-year Brady Anderson. Now, I'm a little surprised that the contact rating of the 3-year came down because he had a career high batting average that year, too. He had 297. But relative to the league, I don't know, maybe it was somehow worse. But his power rating went from 50, because again, it was blending between 18 home runs, 50 home runs, and 19 home runs, I think, were the numbers. This is just a 50 home run season, as we saw with Shohei. 50 home runs in the modern era is about an 80 power. So this is going to make a huge difference for Brady Anderson. Now let's look at Steve Carlton. He's the other kind of poster child for this. Actually, this profile is not looking that different at first glance, but we'll see. All right, let me paste that into the Steve Carlton. Okay, it's a little different. I'll be curious to see how much difference this makes. All right, here's how the Carlton profiles look. Okay, well, there's a huge increase in stuff. It went from 60 with an 80 potential up to 75 with an 80 potential. That's going to be a huge difference in strikeouts and overall performance. Everything else also went up. Movement went up by 5. Home run suppression went up by 5. PBABIP went up by 5. Control went up by 10. And you can see he went from a minus fastball to a plus fastball. He went from a 55 slider to a 65 slider. All right, so this is, it doesn't look that big at first, but when you look across all his ratings, that's a pretty huge difference. So already we're seeing some major differences. And those are the two that I kind of cherry picked because to me, those are like the peakiest of the peak seasons. All right, so let's go ahead and do what we did before, which is let's set up the pitching staffs and everything. We're going to start by letting the AI take its first stab. Okay, Carlton, see, oh my goodness, it wants to go all lefties in the rotation. Now, another player that underperformed quite a bit from expectation was the 85 Gooden, who had a 12.2 pitcher WAR that year. He's not on this team, though, because his bookend seasons were a little too good. But they were low enough that he never quite simmed the way I would have expected him to. So our last Sims Cy Young winner, Bobby Shantz, is now the number 3 starter. All these players should benefit quite a bit from having their bookend seasons taken out of their calculation. We'll see by how much. Okay, I do normally like to have more righties in the rotation. Bill James did really well in that last sim. This is the 1913 Bill James, not the 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 father of sabermetrics Bill James. We'll replace Oliver Perez with Bill James. And we'll probably move Dick Ellsworth to the bullpen too. Maybe Buzz Capra. I'm looking at stamina as well, in addition to the pitching ratings. I do want home run suppression, so I'm thinking stuff. So I'm thinking Buzz Capra. Also thought about Wayne Simpson with the crazy high BABIP, the pitcher BABIP, but I see what the AI did. The AI was stacking with like higher controls too. I think that's why. But we'll replace Ellsworth with Capra, so we get a couple of lefties in the pen. And let's see, Abernathy is the closer. I'm tempted to flip that and make Thigpen our closer and Abernathy a sit up. And then let's get a lefty sit up, Perez or Ellsworth. I like the crazy stuff of Perez, so we'll go Perez. And then put Ellsworth in middle relief. With do we want Fultonevich and Freeman in there? Let's see. All right, why do they have Simpson in there in middle relief? And we'll put Freeman in long relief. But Thigpen's secondary will be set up. Perez and Abernathy's secondaries will be closer. Freeman's secondary will be straight to set up maybe, because we have enough middle relievers. Fultonevich will be Simpson will be backup long relief. They'll back up second set up. Okay. And then for the batting, let's see our position coverage first. Let's make sure we don't have any. Okay, thank goodness Bellinger can play first, so we've got a backup there. Oh, Bellinger's our only right fielder? Really? Huh. Did we have that last season too? No wonder. Okay. That might be a fatigue issue as we go into the season, but we'll see. Alright, let's see what the AI wants to do, and then we'll make adjustments from there. Alright, I was going to platoon Wilkins and Hoyles, but man, Hoyles is really good for both sides. And actually, Wilkins isn't bad versus lefties, so Wilkins can sub whenever Hoyles needs it. We don't have to have him sub just first righties. All right, it's got. I definitely don't think I want Josh Hamilton playing. Holy cow! It's still benching Brady Anderson. What? The AI hates Brady Anderson. Oh man. Let's see. Versus righties. It's got Ellsbury in center. Bellinger in right. Actually, I like Anderson better than Mitchell versus righties. So. Oh, Mitchell's not starting versus righties. Who is? Bellinger? Oh, Luis Gonzalez. Forget about Luis Gonzalez. Oh, yeah, that's actually kind of fair. Josh Hamilton. I mean, it's hard to not start 80 contact, 80 power, Josh Hamilton. I can't believe I think Brady Anderson's on the bench again. The AI has a no sideburn policy, says Casey Struggle. That's amazing. And against lefties, I mean, he's definitely better than Hamilton versus lefties, I would say. What's his left field fielding rating? Oh, he has no left field fielding rating that year. That's part of the problem. He can only play center. Okay, Mitchell should be... Yeah, so we'll put Mitchell in left versus lefties. And then we'll put Anderson at DH instead of Hamilton. Now, it's got Chris Davis versus lefties starting. Man, Chris Davis, 90 power versus righties. So scale is 20 to 80. 90 power versus righties is insane. Yeah, Rev Jr. is right. This team looks way better than the 3-year roster. In fact, I should screenshot this and then screenshot the I'll put it in the Discord later. We'll compare the I mean, just the fact that the 4-star is now the lowest, that's a huge improvement. Yes, this team is going to crush righties for sure. But even against lefties, you're going to get, a crazy Mitchell with 90 power. The Petrocelli is better versus lefties. Actually, no. Petrocelli's slight reverse split. Wow. What a stud season by Rico. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this team does righties versus lefties. I mean, I could fine tune this, but I kind of am okay with where it is. Once he got Anderson some at bats, I'm just surprised Brady Anderson cannot crack this right lineup versus righties. I'm trying, and I just don't see where he's better than the players who are starting. I mean, to take out the Bellinger, we'd be giving up 10. We'd be giving up 10 power. Or sorry, we'd be if you replace Anderson, if you replace Bellinger with Anderson, you gain 10 power, but you lose 15 contact and 5 eye. I just can't see making that trade. Well, and also this Anderson can't play right field. But yeah, I think this is good. I think we'll go with this. Let's see what the backups look like on the depth chart. It wants Kevin Mitchell to start every once in a while versus righties. Mitchell starting in left versus lefties. So the AI is trying to get Mitchell in there. All right, Mitchell versus Hamilton v. Wright. Oh, they're actually side by side, so let's just look at them. Yeah, you gain 5 power and 10 eye, but you give up 35 contact. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up 35 contact. Um, how about Hamilton versus Brady Anderson? You get the same issue. You have a huge. Okay, well this is a better argument. If you let Anderson sub for Hamilton once in a while, you gain 5 power and you also gain 15 eye, but you still lose 30 contact. So I don't see doing that either. But it's a better swap. So I'm going to switch Anderson as the top sub. Wilkins can sub whenever Hoyles is tired. He's good enough VR and VL that I don't care about which side. Okay, we'll let Anderson start in center every fourth game versus righties. Give him a few more ABs. And then versus lefties, we're not playing Hamilton much versus lefties. That's for sure. How does Luis Gonzalez look versus lefties? His contact is actually better. His power comes down 5 and his eye comes down 15. So versus lefties, he's definitely a better backup choice than Hamilton, I think, versus lefties. I think Grabarkowicz and Aurelia should get some ABs as subs. They both had really good peak seasons in there. And then we're going to go sabermetric. And no one's got a stealing rating high enough that I'm going to give them a green light to steal. They'll just steal under the sabermetric preferences. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Let's see. Where are we on when the ad roll's coming? Okay, I think we might have just had one fire recently. Here's what I usually do. Once we start, this is usually when I ask the forms to be submitted. You've seen what the roster looks like. I've given you some information in the form about what the previous sim looked like. So I'm gonna roll 3 minutes of ads. You might not get 3 minutes of ads because ads just roll, but I'm gonna go refill my water, take a restroom break. This is your 3-minute warning to submit your form, and then when I get back, we'll close the form, take a look at the guesses, and then we'll start the sim. All right. Good luck, everybody. All right, I think we're back from ads. I am back. If you're still working in your pack giveaway form and need an extra minute or two, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close it pretty soon here so we can get to the sim. But yeah, I agree with Reb Jr. This is already looking significantly better than the previous import did. I mean, even just looking at things like overall star ratings here, much higher, I think. The power ratings are way higher. Interestingly, on the pitching staff, though, it's not as stark of an improvement. But even then, like that Carlton profile, right? Like, I didn't think it was that much better, but then when we put it side by side, it turned out it was actually a pretty huge improvement. So, but yeah, a lot fewer 5 stars here. We have all the way down to 2.5 star for Bill James. Part of that, though, is he's not good at the things I think the AI is looking for: home run suppression and control. But I was mostly trying to find a way to get the lefties into the pen. So Bill James actually might end up being the weak link here, even though he was one of the strongest pitchers in the 3-year sim, the 3-year import sim. So I was looking back. I noticed Hollywood's Ty said that they've recently thought about doing a save starting from the early 2000s. So if you're just doing a season save where you're just using, let's say, I don't know, I'll just make up here like 2003. In that case, it's just pulling the profiles from 2003. It's bringing the whole season in. So when that's been the case, like that 3-year blend has not been an issue. It's just everyone has 2003. And that's one of the things. That's one of the clues I had before posting to the forums. When I went into the 72 season, and when I went into the 1996 season, Brady Anderson looked way better in 1996 than he did when I imported the 1996. So I was like, okay, that's a big clue. Either the 1996 run environment was way different, or when you pull someone from 96, they look very different from when they're just sitting in 1996. And that indeed turned out to be the case. So if you're just thinking about doing a multi-season save or even a 1-year save in a given year, you don't have to worry about this because everyone's going to have that version of themselves from that year. This is more specifically for importing players. All right, I'm not hearing anyone ask for more time, so I'm going to go ahead and close the forum. I'm just a little surprised because when we did this at late night, we got like the last time we got like 10 or 11 responses, and we're doing this in the afternoon with way more people, and we've got 4 responses. So pretty good odds for those of you who are playing to win some packs. All right, I'm closing the forum. All right, forum's closed. Let's take a look at the guesses. Good luck, everybody. All right. Everyone thinks this. We'll just look at the Survivor Style Section 2. Only first place can be determined by this section. Everyone's going to be back in for second place. Okay, will this team make the playoffs? Everybody thinks so. Will it win the division? Everybody thinks so. 3/4 you think they'll make the World Series. 3/4 you think they'll win the World Series. 3/4 think we'll have a Cy Young winner. Not necessarily all the same 3/4, but and 3/4 you think that we have an MVP winner here, despite Shohei being in the league. I mean, when I see those power and contact numbers, I can't disagree. I do think there's probably an MVP in there, despite the high bar set by Shohei Ohtani. Okay. Now that the guesses are in, Casey Struggle outing themselves as the single way too conservative guesser. Rev Jr. remember the Otani rule, so maybe Rev Jr. was the naysayer for the MVP. All right. So now that we've locked the form and closed it, this is my personal favorite part of The Sims. Is we're going to advance to opening day. Oh wait, let me save this first. I'm also going to save it as a quick start. The reason for that is in case we ever want to revisit it, everything's already set up for us. So we'll name it the same name we used. EXP Peakiest V2 1 year. 1 year. Same as Peakiest version 1, but instead of 3-year import, 1-year import. Okay. So sorry, the saves are not my favorite part. My favorite part is we advance to opening day. It's an earlier opening day because of the UK series in 2024. But you see, it's generating. It said it was generating preseason predictions. That's what I like to look at. We'll go to MLB, reports and info, and there's a preseason predictions option. Okay, you know, division winners and the 80 to 90 wins, occasionally a 100-win team. Home runs in the high 100s to the mid 200s. ERAs in the 4s, with the Mariners below 4, Tigers below 4. Our team, 145 wins, 1,300 runs, 471 home runs. These are predictions. 2.69 ERA, a very nice ERA prediction. And yeah, this is pretty good. Now, I will say the AI usually pretty accurate when it's like a regular season sim if you're just moving players around. When we do create and import players, it does throw off the preseason predictions, I think. Top hitters. Now, this is interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 6 of the top 10. I'm a little surprised. Also surprising, our top hitter, Rico Petrocelli. 333 average, 55 home runs, 149 RBI predictions. That would put him in Triple Crown contention, but behind Josh Hamilton for batting average. It likes our starting pitchers. It chose 4 of our pitchers in the top 5, all trailing Chris Sale, with Buzz Capra 9th out of 10. So all 5 of our rotation are in the top 10. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Let's go to scores. Let's sim to our first game, which is going to be March 28th. Yeah, peak Josh Hamilton is no joke, Reb Jr. All right, let's go to... This is our opening day. We're going to hide scores, and we'll watch highlights of our first game of the season. Hold on a second. Let me do one thing real quick. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's watch these highlights. PB thank you for the raid. Welcome in. We are in the middle of highlighting a new feature in OOTP26, which is the ability to do a single season import now of historic players. And you might be thinking to yourself, what do you mean? Couldn't we always import a single season version of a player? You would not be alone if you thought that, because I did a little survey that actually streamers like Dr. Dynastic and EVC and NYC2 and Laptop Hound were kind enough to share for me to get some more respondents. Almost 80% of OTP users that we surveyed thought that when you import, let's say, the 1996 Brady Anderson, that you were getting the 1996 Brady Anderson, but it turns out you were getting a 3-year blend. But then I also asked, what do you want when you ask for us to import a specific player year? And the overwhelming majority, 94.4% of people, said that, yeah, when I import a 96 Brady Anderson, I want the 1996 Brady Anderson. And so I asked about this in the forums because I thought, I didn't know about the 3-year import. I was like, why are these players not importing? Why are they so nerfed when they import? And to OTP's credit, the developers responded. They explained that it's a 3-year blend. And then when several of us in the forum thread said that, well, we would like a 1-year import. Can we get a 1-year import? They said they'd look into it, and I think it's less than a month and a half later. It's now in the game. So lots of gratitude towards OOTP for listening to the community, taking our feedback and actually acting on it, and giving us a great way to do this now. Here's what it looks like. We now get a pull-down menu that says, what do you want the ratings calculations based on? And if you click on the pull-down, you now get 1 year, 3 year, or 5 years. So if you like the way it did it before, and you're in that 5%, you can pick 3 year or 5 year. If you want that very specific year, you can pick the 1 year. And so I think that flexibility is great for everybody. So what we did was I intentionally built the roster with some help from Reb Jr., who's in the chat, of the peakiest players I could find. And those are players who had amazing seasons that were surrounded by average or even below average seasons. And what that team looks like is we've got the 1993 Chris Hoyles, for example, the 1996 Ken Caminiti, the 69 Rico Petrocelli, the 2010 Josh Hamilton, and of course the 1996 Brady Anderson. So last week we simmed this with the 3-year blend, which is the old default way. And today we're simming it with the 1-year import, which is the much more targeted import that we wanted. And just using Brady Anderson as the example, here's the difference. A 30-point rating difference in power when we went from the 3-year blend to the 1 year. And here's why. If you look at Brady Anderson's 1996, he had 50 home runs. In almost as many plate appearances the year before, and even more plate appearances the year after, he had 16 and 18 home runs. Right? So this one on the left is averaging profiles that hit 16, 18, and 50 home runs. This profile on the right is for a player who hit just 50 home runs. And so we're about to watch the first game of the season with this 1-year imported team. Now, the 3-year blended import team still did well. They went 130 and 32. But this team is on track, I think, to do even better. All right, so let's head back to the highlights. Now, since PBE is an online league, you probably don't have to deal with importing historic players. But if any of your, anyone who follows PBSim is interested in doing this kind of stuff, this is a real big improvement, I think, in the game. All right, we held Milwaukee hitless and scoreless in the top of the first. And we are now up with a runner on second with 2 outs, full count to Luis Gonzalez. Line drive up the middle, base hit. Runner had to check up there to make sure it got through, so he may not score. Nope, they sent him, and he scores. He flops on top of the plate. All right. That's a 1-0 lead. Petrocelli now coming up with 2 outs. Another full count. Fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. And now Chris Davis on second with Chris Hoyles at bat. Deep right center field, and that's gone. Okay, Chris Davis and Chris Hoyles. I also grew up with a lot of kids named Chris. A ton. So many Chris's that most of our Chris's we would call Chris Davis goes yard, deep right center field. We refer to most of the Chris's by their last names, just so we can tell them apart. My 2 girls, kindergarten and 3rd grade, they know no one named Chris. No one. Davey Johnson, Mets legendary manager, goes yard, upping the lead to 10-1. It's now 13-1. Top of the 8th as the Brewers come to bat. Joey Ortiz against Steve Carlton. Again, this is peak Steve Carlton, much better than the 3-year blended Carlton. Oh, they've called the game. They've called the game, so Steve Carlton won't get credit for a complete game. And home runs by Chris Hoyles, Chris Davis, Davey Johnson, and Rico Petrocelli. Carlton player of the game, 7 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Now this is the Steve Carlton I'm always looking for when I import him, and now we're getting him. All right, we'll go to the standings view, and let's do the rest of the month. It's a short month, March, 3-0. Let's see what those games look like real quick. 13-1, pretty close one, 6-4, and then 9-0. All right, let's do the month of April, first full month of the season. Oh, wow, we're in 2nd place. Had a bit of a rough spot there. Bill James is pitcher of the month. We did have an 11-game winning streak. Let's check out that pitcher of the month. Six 6-0 in 6 starts, 33 strikeouts, and 39 in the third. A pretty high walk total, 19 walks, 2.75 ERA, .190 opponent batting average. Okay, let's sim the next month. Now, we're definitely not seeing as much green ink here in the leaderboards as we did in a previous sim. There we go. Now we're starting to heat up a little bit. 50-6. A 30-game winning streak. 35-game on streak by Petrocelli. 5-game home run streak by Bellinger. Let me screenshot that. 30-game winning streak is pretty good. Player of the week. Now, if we get another pitcher of the month, it won't give us a notification because the first one's an achievement. Yeah, so Bobby Shantz was starter of the month, or pitcher of the month. 6-0 with a 2.01 ERA. And then 49 strikeouts and 44 and 2/3. And Ohtani was the top hitter of the month. Yankees Soto. That you mean losing Soto to the Mets hurts? Yeah, he is second in the AL in RBI, leading in OPS. And our 1-year import team is now 51-6. There's only one other team that even has 40 wins, and that's the Yankees. The 24 Yankees actually simming much better today than usual, so we'll keep an eye on them. Let's see, Gonzalez finally peaking in the leaderboards for batting average. Caminiti at 18 home runs. Chance again doing really well in 2024, 1.98 ERA. Chance, Carlton, and James, top 3 in wins. Carlton and Chance leading in strikeouts. Thigpen, second for saves. And Carlton and Chance leading for pitcher war. All right, let's do another month, the month of June. Oh, we got interrupted by the owner, even though we have owner stuff off. But we'll go to the rest of June. Looks like we're on another winning streak here. Staying at 6 losses for quite a while. 13 quality start streak by Chance. Cody Bellinger, batter of the month. 20-game streak without a run by Bobby Thigpen. We did move him into the closer role, so that's working out nicely. All right, let's check out that batter of the month. Oh, did we get pitcher of the? No, Blake Snell gets starter of the month, but we have June's best batter in Cody Bellinger. He had 361 with 12 home runs, 27 RBI, and 28 runs scored for the month. On the season, he's got 28 home runs and a 335 batting average. Yikes. All right, we're now at the beginning of July, so we'll sim to the All-Star break. We are in the midst of a 27-game winning streak. Gonzalez now second in the league in batting. Bellinger now tied for second in home runs. Bellinger and Caminiti second and third in WAR. Chance and Carlton still 1 and 2 in ERA. Chance, Carlton, and James still leading in wins. Carlton still leading in strikeouts. Carlton, Chance, and pitcher war. All right, let's go to the All-Star break. "16-game winning streak by Chance, 14-game run streak by Anderson, 13-game shutdown streak by Thigpen. All right, 86-9, 905 winning percentage. Definitely ahead of the pace of the 3-year average team. Chris Davis now showing up in the leaderboards for home runs and RBI. Skeens has jumped ahead of Carlton and James for ERA. Our 3 pitchers are still leading in wins. Carlton is still leading in strikeouts. All right, let's advance one day to the All-Star break. And let's see about All-Star voting. Chris Hoyles leading at catcher. Chris Davis leading at first base. Who is our second baseman? Oh, Davey Johnson. Davey Johnson is hitting 266, 28 home runs at the break, but only 266 batting average. I'm still surprised, though, he didn't get any. He's not in the top 3 in votes. Caminiti leading at third base. Petrocelli leading at shortstop. In left field, Luis Gonzalez is third in voting. In center field, Jacoby Ellsbury is leading. Bellinger is trailing Ohtani. Ohtani's over 7 million votes to Bellinger's 4.6 million. Ohtani's got 34 home runs, hitting 356 with... And we have popularity turned off for All-Star voting. So he is just crushing it. DH Hamilton, 12 home runs, 337 average. Again, he's platooning, so he's getting fewer opportunities. And look, the real Cody Bellinger, third in voting at DH. We've got the imported Bellinger from 2019 and the real Bellinger from 2024. They might both end up on the All-Star team. Now, the AI is still not great at picking imported or voting for imported or created players. So let's take a look at who might get chosen. Buzz Capper's 13-3 with a 3.7 ERA. Carlton 17-1 with a 2.28. James is 16-0 with a 2.4. Chance is 17-1 with a 2.31. And Viola's 12-2 with a 3.22. Now, a lot of this is they're being carried by the offense. But these ERAs and whips are still pretty good. All right, let's go to who actually got chosen. And this is where the AI is usually pretty good about correcting itself and will at least choose pitchers that didn't get voted for. Yeah, Carlton chosen. Bill James chosen. Chance chosen. That's it, though, from our pitchers. It's a little disappointing. They only took those 3. Chris Hoyles voted in at catcher. Chris Davis voted in at first base. Davey Johnson selected at second. Caminiti voted in at third. Petrocelli voted in at short. Gonzalez selected. Josh Hamilton voted in. Ellsbury voted in. Bellinger chosen. So let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. 12 All-Stars. It's pretty good. I think if we're playing creator roster, that would break a record. I think 11 might have been the record. All right, let's go to the home run challenge. We should have a few participants in here. It's just Chris Davis? It's just Chris Davis. Wow. And Chris Davis got beat by Ketel Marte, so we have no one left in this competition. Corey Seager and Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei wins it again. Shohei does win this pretty regularly. I mean, I guess that's true. Only Chris Davis had over 30 home runs. It could have taken Bellinger with 29, Davey Johnson Caminiti with 28. Who are the home run leaders in the National League? Yeah, I mean, the AI could have taken more of a... Well, no, it's AL and NL combined, so let's look at the combined. Yeah, okay. I mean, we could have made a case for Bellinger. They took Seager instead. All right. That's fair. That's fair. We're not... I thought with all those 80, 70, 80, 85, 90 home run power guys, we would have had more, but still not too bad. All right, let's go check out the results of the All-Star game. Ken Caminiti, All-Star Game MVP. Let's see. Bellinger went 0 for 1 with a strikeout, left 3 on base. Hamilton went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Davey Johnson, pinch hit, went 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Petrocelli 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored and a walk. Caminiti 2 for 2. 2 runs scored, 2 RBI, and a home run. They could have just as easily picked Petrocelli as player of the game. Hoyles 2 for 4 with a run scored and 3 RBI. Chris Davis 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Luis Gonzalez 1 for 1. Yeah, our hitters really crushed it. On the pitching side, Carlton pitched 1 clean inning, seven pitches to get 3 outs, and got credited with the win. That's it for our pitchers. All right, pretty good showing. Pretty good showing at the All-Star break. All right, we'll go back to the standings view and we'll finish simming the season. Here's the rest of July. Another 14-game winning streak, a 9-game quality start streak by Viola, 7-game extra hit streak by Mitchell, and another save streak by Thigpen. Wow. So what's going on with Thigpen and the saves? Oh, I said another, but I think he had a scoreless inning streak, not a save streak. Snell's catching up to Carlton in strikeouts. We are still dominating wins. Second and third in ERA. It's interesting. The 3-year blended team, though, dominated the offensive leaderboards much more than this. All right, let's sim the month of August. 100 wins by early August. All right, 121 and 15. We've clinched the division and a playoff spot. Chris Davis, second in home runs, leading the league in RBI, or tied for the league in RBI. Tied with Ohtani for RBI. 1 home run behind Ohtani for home runs. Davey Johnson, third in OPS. Petrocelli, second in WAR. We're still second and third in ERA. Just can't catch Skeens. We've got the top 3 win pitchers. Carlton's still leading in strikeouts. And Carlton's still leading in pitcher WAR. What's our pitcher rotation mode, by the way? Did I forget to set it to... Let's go always start highest rested. Let's get Carlton that strikeout title. Is he rested now? No, he's tired. All right. Let's get Carlton that strikeout title. All right. Let's sim the rest of the regular season. All right, we've passed the 3-year blend team, and we keep on going. All right, we have one game left. Let's sim that. All right, Carlton led the league in wins. Chris Davis led the league in home runs. Jacoby Ellsbury went 20-20, and we are headed to the playoffs. But yeah, we don't have the leaderboard domination that we did with a 3-year blend, but we definitely have the team domination. All right, you know what's crazy? We got to pick all these peak seasons, and we still didn't win as many games as Smiley Face Jane did in OOTP25 playing Creator Roster, where she had to have 2 scrubs and 5 bench level players. Hey, Deli Sports. Wish you could say the game was hating with a 49-87 record for your Marlins in 2024. 62 and 100 ending this season on a positive note. Well, let's see. That means you went 13 and 13 to end the season. That's pretty good. You have momentum going into the postseason. All right. Let's save the end of the regular... Well, hold on. Do we have any tie breaks? Nope, doesn't look like it. All right, now let's go to the postseason. We'll do the playoff tree to start with, but just for the wild card round. All right, the Dodgers win 2-1 over the Braves to face our team. The Phillies sweep the Cardinals to face the Padres. The Twins sweep the Red Sox to face the Yankees. And the Rangers beat the Guardians to face the Tigers. All right, now we'll go to scores mode. AL is first. Tigers win a pitching duel 2-1. Take a 1-0 series lead. And the Yankees win a nail biter, scoring one in the bottom of the 10th, walking it off to win 6-5 over the Twins. All right, NL's going to pick things up while the AL plays game 2. Rangers win 5-4 to tie up that series with the Tigers 1 apiece. Yankees win 3-2 to take a 2-0 series lead. Padres in the NL win game 1 3-2 over the Phillies. And our team of the Peakiest seasons wins 10-2 over the Dodgers in game 1. 2 home runs by Davey Johnson and home runs by Petrocelli and Cody Bellinger. All right, the AL's on a travel day while the NL plays game 2. Padres win 3-0, taking a commanding 2-0 series lead. The Mets do the same, but in a tighter game, 9-8, walking it off in the bottom of the 9th. Petrocelli hit 2 bombs in that game. Let's see. Oh, Petrocelli with a solo home run versus Evan Phillips in the bottom of the 9th. The walk-off bomb. Hit a home run earlier in the game as well. Let's see. When did he hit his earlier home run? 3rd inning off of Yamamoto. Solo shot as well. All right, NL's going to head to its travel day while the AL resumes action. Game 3. Tigers take a 2-1 series lead, beating the Tigers 4-2. Yankees looking to close out the Twins, but the Twins win 11-5, forcing a game 4. All right, can Texas close out the Tigers? Tigers win 9-5, forcing a decisive game 5. Can the Yankees close out the Twins? They do. It takes 11 innings, but they win 6-5 to advance to the ALCS. Can San Diego sweep the Phillies? They destroy the Phillies 15-5 with 20 hits to sweep the Phillies and advance to the NLCS. And the Mets sweep the Dodgers, winning 8-5. Davey Johnson hits his 3rd home run. Cody Bellinger hits his 2nd. Bellinger went 3 for 4 with a double, a home run, and 3 RBI in that win. All right. There's one game 5. It's the Tigers, Rangers at the Tigers. Rangers win 2-0 on a 4-hit shutout over the Tigers. All right, the ALCS picks up right away, so no rest for the Rangers. But they win 4-3. Winning run scored in the top of the 8th. Corey Seager, player of the game, goes 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBI. Okay, game 2 in the ALCS. Rangers win again 8-7. Taking a 2-0 series lead. All right, the peak season team was able to reset its rotation and send Steve Carlton out for... Oh, we need to switch to a 4-man rotation. Let's see, who do you want to send to the pen? So James has the worst ERA. Viola has the worst whip. I think with 3 lefties in the rotation, maybe we send Viola to the pen. And we'll make him the best stopper ever. All right. Wow, Carlton throws a 3-hit shutout, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. As the Peakiest peak team wins 9-0. That 72 Carlton is no joke. All right, AL's on a travel day. We send Bobby Shantz to the mound for game 2. Ooh, the Padres win 4-3. That's our first loss of the postseason. Our team has a power outage, no home runs, while the Padres get home runs by Bogarts, Higashioka, and Machado. All right, NL on a travel day. AL resumes with Texas up 2-0. Texas extends its lead to 3-1, winning 8-0, a 4-hit shutout of the Yankees. All right, Texas looking for the sweep. The Rangers went 4-3, sweeping the Yankees, headed to the World Series. They will be well rested by the time either of these NL teams gets there. Mets win 11-8. Home runs by Chris Davis and Caminiti. 2 by Hamilton. Josh Hamilton, player of the game. Hamilton went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, 6 RBI. Caminiti also goes 4 for 5, 2 RBIs and 3 runs scored. All right, Buzz Capper against Matt Waldron. 9-2 win. Davey Johnson goes 2 for 4 with the home run. Chris Hoyle's 2 for 4 with the home run. Capper goes 7 2/3 strong innings, 2 earned. Scatters 6 hits and a walk, gets 8 strikeouts. And the Peakiest team will be looking for a 4-1 series win here in Game 5. Steve Carlton back on the mound. And they do take it. Another shutout by Carlton. He only goes 6 innings, though. I wonder what happened there. Was there a rain delay or something? Nope, clear skies. Why did Carlton only go 6? It was a close game. It wasn't like it's a blowout. But, I mean, they had Viola in the pen, so they brought him in to pitch 3 innings. Did they bring him in to face... I'm really curious to know why they took Carlton out. No, because Carlton's... It's lefty-lefty. I don't know why... Why did they take Carlton out? He only had 86 pitches. He's an 85 stamina pitcher, I think. Yeah. That's an interesting decision by the AI. All right, well, we do win, head to the World Series. There is 1 day of rest. Now, the Rangers have had a lot of rest, so they should be fully rested and their rotation should be reset. That's interesting. Oh, Evaldi's still tired. Okay. So they're going with Bradford for Game 1. All right, we win 3-0. Shantz throws 7 shutout innings, gets 10 strikeouts. Home run by Chris Davis. Game 2, Bill James against Evaldi. Win 14-6 and a little more of a shootout. Home runs by Chris Davis, Caminiti, Petrocelli, and Bellinger. Travel day up 2-0 as we head to Texas for Game 3. Now Carlton takes him out 3-0 with a .77 ERA this postseason. Oh, but we take the loss. Carlton's ERA balloons all the way up to 2.36. We lose 6-2. Ooh, that's a rough one. Buzz Capper against John Gray. 13-4 win. Lots of bombs in this game. Home runs by Chris Davis, Davey Johnson, Ken Caminiti, Luis Gonzalez, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Texas chipping in 2 with home runs by Jonah Heim and Duran. All right, Ken the Peakiest peak performers win it on the road. Game 5 in Texas. Bobby Shantz versus Cody Bradford. And we do. 6-1. Shantz goes 8 2/3. I like that the AI wouldn't let Shantz finish the complete game. Home runs by Chris Davis, Caminiti, and Bellinger. Who came in and pitched that 1/3 of an inning? Ellsworth with his 17.18 postseason ERA. I guess 85 stamina Bobby Shantz was on the pitch count. When he hit 115, they're like, okay, pull him. Bring in Ellsworth. All right, let's go watch the awarding of the trophy here. And we'll screenshot that. I think I already screenshotted the regular season, but let's grab this. And let's save it. And then let's postseason awards. We'll do that from the mailbox. Game score of 1709. That's a very good score. All right, Great Glove Awards. Gonzalez and Ellsbury win Gold Gloves. Very nice. Now, I have noticed that players are winning Gold Gloves with 45, 50, and even 45 fielding ratings, which did not happen much in previous versions of the game. So let's check it out here. Luis Gonzalez, 55 rating, and he won a Gold Glove. Ellsbury, now Ellsbury with a 60 rating, that definitely seems more expected. And then reliever of the year, do we have a viable candidate here? Let's see, Thigpen went 1-1 with 35 saves, a 1.28 ERA, a .79 WHIP. Our setup guy, Abernathy, probably did not have enough innings, .99 ERA, .74 WHIP. Frank Viola is in the pen right now because of the postseason. But I think he's our best chance. Thigpen. OOTP26 has been selecting more setup guys, though, as finalists and winners of the Relief Pitcher of the Year award. Way more so than in previous versions. All right. Raisel Iglesias takes it. Bobby Thigpen finished third. Iglesias swept it. 7-5, 41 saves, 1.55 ERA. Also a lot more productive, 75 innings. I think maybe Thigpen suffered from the team being too good and him not getting a lot of action. He was in 50 games but only pitched 49 in the third innings. So that might have been part of it. All right, next up is Platinum Stick Awards. We should have a few of these. Five of these. Chris Hoiles at catcher. Chris Davis at first. Ken Caminiti at third. Petrocelli at short. Jacoby Ellsbury in center field. .315 average, 37 home runs, 24 stolen bases. The other thing that's been going crazy is Ohtani, in every sim so far, has hit 50 home runs and stolen 80 bases. I don't think we've seen an Ohtani sim where he hasn't stolen 80. Yelich also getting 80 steals. All right, next up, Rookie of the Year. I don't think we have anyone eligible. All right, Cy Young is the big one. and then MVP, the other big one. Okay, so I mean Carlton I think is the natural favorite here. 27-1, 312 strikeouts, 2.54 ERA, 0.91 WHIP. Led the team in pitcher WAR. So he's my bet. Bobby Shantz may be second. Shantz won the Shantz, man. As a 3-year blend, he won the Cy Young. As a 1 year, he's maybe a second or third place Cy Young season. This 52 Bobby Shantz, the real deal. All right, let's check out Cy Young Award. Steve Carlton does take it. Shantz comes in second, gets the only other first place vote. But yeah, the rest of our rotation didn't even place. It's just Carlton and Shantz. That's it. So let's see. They didn't like 24-2 Bill James, the 3.43 ERA. They didn't like 17-3 Frank Viola with the 3.32 ERA. And they didn't like 22-3 Buzz Capper with the 3.46 ERA. They took the only two of our starters with sub-1 whips. But we did win the award, so that's the big thing on the pack giveaway form. All right, next up is the MVP. We did not win this with the 3-year blended sim. So let's see what happens here. We'll sort by OPS. Look at all these players with 1,000 OPS. 2, 4, 6, 8 players with 1,000 OPS. Everyone on the team had at least 900 OPS. That's insane. All right, let's see. MVP contenders. Chris Davis, 52 home runs, 146 RBI, but he only hit 283. Rico Petrocelli, 38 home runs, 309 average, 9.7 WAR. Yeah, I think Petrocelli might be the best bet here, but it's going to be tough to beat a 50-80 Shohei. Yeah, Ohtani wins it again. Petrocelli comes in second, but Ohtani sweeps all the first place votes. Yeah, I mean, 52 bombs, 145 RBI, a 348 average, and 80 steals. I mean, what can you do? What can you do against that? Judge is the same way in the AL, except without the steals. 50 bombs, 119 RBI. I wonder if he's also stealing. Judge got 35 stolen bases. Wow. All right, so we did not win the MVP again, but I think we have enough information now to do the pack giveaway. So let's do that. Good luck to our 4 participants. I don't know how you're feeling about your guesses now that the sim is over, but we'll find out shortly here. Let me just hide and resize some columns, and then I'll put it up in the stream. Oops. And again, it is 7 packs to first place, 3 packs to second place. All right, let's all right, will this team make the playoffs? Yes, they did. Will it win its division? It did. Will it make the World Series? It did. So we lose Casey Struggle. But remember, everyone comes back for the second phase, for second place. So Casey Struggle, you will still be the running for 3 packs. All right, will it win the World Series? Yes, we did. Will player this team win the Cy Young Award? Yes, it was Carlton this time. Much improved with the 1 year import. Will he win the MVP? We did not. Otani comes in again. Wins it. So we've got Reb Jr. takes first place. Now, I'll finish scoring this section just to see how we did, but everyone else is back in it for second place. How many wins? It was 142. Late Tate was 5 away. Rev Jr. would have been 6 away, so Late Tate would have taken that one. Good guess. How many games behind his division? Everyone guessed this correctly. Oh yeah, that's the first part of the numerical section. So, Rev Jr. wins first place. Is that, can you see all of that yet or no? No, not yet. Okay. Rev Jr. has already won first place, so we'll just color that in green. So it's between the other three. Everyone got this right. They won the division, so there were 0 games behind. Okay, the Carlton had a 3.27 ERA in the 3-year blended sim. What would his ERA be in this sim? It actually improved, but not as much as I thought it would. It's down to 2.54. So Casey Struggle will get that right. Get that closest, I should say. All right, 255 strikeouts in that sim, 310 in real life. He threw 312. So Ryan Schroer gets that one right. This is a close contest so far. Okay, Brady Anderson. He had a 429 slugging in the last sim. In this sim, it did improve, but not as much as his real life slugging. He improved to 545. Wow, Reb Jr. been right on that. $545 versus. Yeah, Reb Jr. I usually keep it unless I'm doing a sort. I usually keep it on this screen for these. So 545. That's 70. 83 points away for Late to Hate. It's 80. Oh, this is close. I might have to bust out the. Oh, I don't need a calculator. I have a spreadsheet. Yeah, so Casey struggles slightly closer. I just wanted to double check my math there. All right, now batting averages. Oh, wait, this is Brady Anderson. Still Brady Anderson. Batting average. Again, it improved from the last sim, but not as much as real life. 269, very nice average. Casey Struggle gets that almost exactly right. All right, now highest batter war. Let's do a sort here. 9.7 by Petrocelli. Ryan Schroer gets it. All right, home run leader. To another sort here. 52 by Chris Davis. Ryan Shore, closest again. All right, then lowest and highest batting average on the team. Minimum 300 plate appearances. So, wow, Brady Anderson lowest at 269. So 250, Ryan Shore closest there. And the highest batting average was 329 by Luis Gonzalez. 329. So 22 away there, 25 away, Ryan Shore. So Late to Hate gets that one. All right, next is OPS. Lowest and highest. Brady Anderson lowest, 0.92. Wow, everyone undershot that one. Yeah, with the 1 year, no one was bad. Late Hate closest there by guessing the highest. Not close, but closest is my saying for that. And then the highest OPS was 1235 by Kevin Mitchell, who barely had enough plate appearances. He had 304 plate appearances. So Late to Hate. All right, so headed into the pitching section. Late to Hate with a sudden surge has 4. Ryan Shore has 5. And Casey Struggle has 4. It's a super close race as we head into the pitcher section. Highest pitcher WAR. Let's do another sort. 8.3 by Steve Carlton. Late to Hate closest there, now tied for the lead. 4 in a row by Late to Hate. Strikeouts, regular season leader in strikeouts, that was Steve Carlton with the 312 that was recorded earlier. 323 by Late to Hate, the closest. 5 in a row now by Late to Hate. Taking a 6-5-4 lead over the field. Okay, highest and lowest ERAs by our pitchers. Now, with the innings requirement, it's going to be just our starters here. 3.46 by Buzz Capra. Only 2.25 away, Late to Hate, adding to the string of correct answers. Lowest ERA, 100 innings pitched, Steve Carlton with a 2.54. Casey Struggle breaks the streak. Okay, Late to Hate with 7. Casey Struggle with 5 can still win it. Ryan Shore with 5 can still win it. Because if it's a tie at the end, whoever got the most recent answer right breaks that tie. Okay, lowest and highest whips with at least 100 innings pitched. Or sorry, highest and lowest whips. Bill James with a 1.08 down to 0.85. Yeah, the whips came way down. High of 1.08. So Casey Struggle gets that. Tightening the race here. 6 for Casey Struggle. 7 for Late to Hate. If Casey Struggle gets this, it's a tie, but by getting the most recent one right, Casey Struggle would win the 2 packs. So the lowest whip was Bobby Shantz with a 0.85. Late to Hate almost nails it exactly. And clinches second place. All right, that was an entertaining race down to the wire for the second place packs. All right, Reb Jr., congratulations on your first place finish. 7 packs to you. Late Take, congratulations on your second place finish. 3 packs to you. And I hope you all enjoyed that simulation. I hope you learned a little bit about what importing players has looked like in the past and what it looks like now. If you want to import historic players, it's a pretty big deal. It's going to be way more to your expectations of what you want to import, and it's a big improvement. So big thanks to OOTP Developments for getting this to us so quickly. Once it was surfaced. Oh, good. I'm glad you all had fun. All right, let's find. Nolan is usually streaming now, so let's raid into Nolan if he's available. Let me check in with Nolan because Nolan's usually part of our raid train. Nolan into Ezra, and then back into me when I come back on at 10. I am a little early, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing Nolan by a minute or two. Let's see what it says there. Oh, the other thing I should do is I said I would screenshot these results. So let's do that. I have these slides that I had set up. Right, let's put the stats next to each other. So this is the Carlton stat line. Let me screenshot this. Oops, I meant to do this screenshot. There we go. Oh, hold on a second. I think I have to wait for that window to clear. Okay, now we can do it. Okay, so now if I paste that into here, this is the Carlton stat line. And then let me grab the Brady Anderson stat line. Now the Brady Anderson actually did not improve that much from... Part of that might be that we were starting him against his weak side split because it was still better than the alternative. But let me screenshot his stat line and paste it into the same page. Okay, so let's take a look here. Carlton, big improvement in strikeouts. Now, part of that is he threw 17 more innings, but the bulk of those 57 more strikeouts came from a higher strikeouts per 9. The big difference is you can see the ERA plus went from 141 to 178, and the WAR went from 4.8 to 8.3. Now, the 1 year Anderson, while still kind of underperforming in terms of slugging and batting average, still much better than the 3 year blended version. In fact, the WAR went from 0.7 to 3.9, but part of that is a lot more plate appearances. So let's look at the rates. 248 versus 269, 332 on base versus 375, 429 slugging versus 545, and ultimately that led to a 160 point improvement in OPS. Still didn't match his 1,000 plus OPS of 1996, but definitely much better. And then let me also grab the standings. Where did I get the standings view? Hold on a sec. Oh yeah, I got it from here. I'm using the Windows screenshot instead of the OOTP screenshot. Because I just want part of it. I don't want the entire screen. And then let me also pull the playoff tree. Oops, I did the same mistake. I need this screenshot. Oh, I have to wait until... I didn't wait for the pop-up to clear, so let me try that again. All right, so we can paste that down here. Okay, so here are the differences from a team perspective. We went from 130 and 32 to 142 and 20. You know what I should have done? I should have taken that screenshot that has the team stats too, because I'm sure from a runs and runs allowed perspective, we're much better as well. But we extended the lead in the league, in the division, from 29 to 45 games ahead. And of course, instead of losing in the NLCS, we won the whole thing. But definitely, you know, and I think you saw it, even though you didn't, even if you didn't see all of the three-year blend stream, you saw especially the batters and the power, how much better they imported. So yeah, that it makes a pretty big difference. All right, Nolan says he's firing up his system right now, so we'll go ahead and we'll raid into Nolan. Let's give a shout out to Nolan while he does that. The Nolan Network. I know he was doing a 1900 Pirates save, a 1979 Mariners save, and he's also doing a Ted Williams save, which is like, you know, how good would Ted Williams have been not without losing time to military service. And those are the kinds of sims that I used to like to do in the base game too, before I discovered Perfect Team, before I started streaming. Just like the historic database just has so many options for, you know, how you can rewrite history if you want to. In fact, one thing I'm thinking about doing again in OOTP26 now, especially now that the import, we have a 1-year import option, is I used to take the 86 Mets back to replace the 62 Mets and replace the 63 Mets and the 64 Mets and so on. And that's actually the first time I noticed how poorly, relatively poorly, the Gooden, the 85 Gooden, or the 86 Gooden did. Because then he actually would get the 85 and 87. And some of those Mets too, they didn't have great 87 seasons. And so that would nerf the 86 Mets a little bit. And I'm looking forward to redoing that with a 1-year import. And I think it's easy to forget and underestimate how bad all the 60s Mets were until 69. Like a string of 90 loss, 100 loss seasons actually. The 62 Mets get all the attention for being the worst record in the majors, but The rest of those 60 Mets are also pretty bad, and I think that doesn't get enough attention, and so I really enjoyed replacing those teams with the 86 Mets. All right, let's see if Nolan's up yet. He is. All right, let's go ahead and raid into the Nolan network. Now, on most Fridays, we go from Doctor Dynastic to me. I would raid into Nolan. Nolan would then raid into Ezra Denny, who does OOTP After Dark. Let's give him a shout out. If you aren't following Nolan and Ezra Denny, highly recommend. Ezra was doing a 1959 giant save, and now that he's doing a 1986 giant save. He does every game. He manages every play. It's a lot of fun, and he has a 7th inning stretch where he shows some content that's always entertaining, usually like era specific and baseball specific. So, also another great streamer. And if you want to hang on again, I'll be back on at 10 p.m. Pacific tonight, doing some more OOTP shenanigans. All right, have a good time with Nolan.